Hi, Roger Gewolb here. Please forgive the background noise, it's unavoidable. When I interviewed Gordon Brown some years ago, I was rather struck by his intelligence and his very strategic approach to things. So I was thus a little bit surprised. I was rather surprised the other day to hear him suggest that our two candidates for Prime Minister, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, get together with Boris, our current Prime Minister, and all agree a solution to the terrible crisis that we are in and the catastrophe that's about to hit us. That's about as likely to happen, I feel, as my winning the Nobel Prize or maybe Strictly Come Dancing. It's obviously patently apparent that Truss and Sunak must remain adversarial and can't really agree on anything other than perhaps the sun rising tomorrow until Election Day. Otherwise, they and their teams will see such an agreement as undermining their position and their chances to win. So, whilst Gordon is right that we are living on a knife edge, what with our cost of living crisis, our crashed political system, the supply chain, and energy crisis, plus a Vladimir Putin whose ambitions are seriously underestimated, we're unfortunately going to be unable to be saved before the 6th of September, and certainly not by Truss and Sunak agreeing on anything meaningful. That is how it is and how it has to be. Our system, unfortunately, in this instance, has us electing a party, not a prime minister, and none of us get to vote. Only about 170,000 registered Tory voters, and even there's talk of the system being hacked so that anybody can vote, even if they're not a Tory. The problem is that although we are deep into this process now, 4 weeks and a day until we get our next prime minister, the Tory party will naturally, as any party, do everything it can to stay in power. And thus we are seeing, for example, hustings with very typical Tory voters beaming rapturously and applauding every platitude and generalization. What naturally matters to these voters is not so much what is being said, but that it makes the party look positive. They just want to win the next general election, and thus nobody is pinning down the candidates to what they will actually do, as far as I see it. Even some of the media are being relatively polite. They ask the questions and get the answers which, frankly, are insufficient and unsatisfactory, often waffle, and they leave it there. Liz Truss, in her various turnarounds, has said that she's going to remove the green energy levy for now, reverse the 1.25% increase in national insurance for now, do away with the corporation tax increase, and tinker with some other things, but none of which is generally acknowledged is going to amount to a great deal of money or help for people. And she's still ruling out, probably will change her mind, on a bit more of handouts, but it really isn't going to make much of a difference. Rishi Sunak is talking about tax cuts in the future, and although it took us 61 years to pay off the war debt from World War II, he remains convinced that we need to pay off the COVID debt, an equivalent catastrophe, as quickly as possible for reasons I still don't understand. And that's it. That's all we get. So at the end of the day, we don't really know what these folks are going to do, whichever of them gets into power. Do they actually know, I ask myself? Gordon Brown is right. We're headed for something of a catastrophe. If the Bank of England continues to raise interest rates, something you do not do in the face of cost-push inflation, where consumer demand is driving it, and which before Andrew Bailey in 2009, the bank recognized and did not raise interest rates despite the inflation, and they let the inflation run out. But if they go ahead and persist in this insane increase in rates at a time when we can't afford it, millions of people are going to lose their homes. There's no doubt about that. So why don't our candidates pay attention to this and what else is going on? How about the French-style motorway blockades of a few weeks ago? Not even mentioned. How about the rather frightening don't pay movement, where 1 million or more people are hoped for to cancel their energy direct debits on the 1st of October if the new prime minister doesn't deliver the goods in their first 3.5 weeks? And what about petrol? There hasn't been a single mention of reducing the cost of petrol, where 80% of a liter goes in tax and VAT to the government and paid by us in pounds that have already been taxed, of course, so it's a triple tax. In fact, I haven't even heard the word petrol in any debate or hustings. Someone needs, in conclusion, to seriously take our candidates to task, and quickly, right now. They need to acknowledge the real crisis that we're in, cease all the waffling, and tell us specifically what they are going to do so that these Tory voters can see their real solutions, if any, to the real issues that we face. Thank you very much.